All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. And don't worry, Ken, you're going to see people kind of logging on in. I'm going to man all of that for you. We just want to stay cognizant of your time because you're busy. And also those that are watching live stream, we do have a lot of people already logged in, ready for what you have to offer. And so we're very excited for this. You guys, just remember, as we're resetting for the new year, it has now been 2 years straight that we have had guests come in pretty much every Wednesday, unless it was a holiday, here live in EXP Family Tree. And if you search my name in this live, in our EXP Family Tree workplace group, you will literally see 2 years of content and guests, and you can go back and rewatch them. You can reach out to the guests. We always give you their contact information. We bring people from the industry, from other brokerages, not within real estate. As you know, we want you guys to learn from the best of the best, be exposed to lots of different things. It becomes a win-win for everybody when we collaborate. I'm a firm believer in collaboration over competition. You know that. And so I'm very excited that you guys continue to do that. We did have a little bit of a break over the holiday, but it is now the new year. We are now already at the 10th of January. So hopefully you guys are getting into the swing of your new schedule. Hey, Joanne, thanks for joining us. Nice to see you here again. And so remember, get this on your calendar. It's 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Calculate your time zone in between. Every single Wednesday. And we do have the January schedule out posted, so you know what to expect for the upcoming Wednesdays as well. All right, without further ado, I do want to make an introduction. Ken and I actually spoke via phone probably 2 or 3 months ago. I had been in contact with him because I have been on an email campaign of his for many years. And I just thought I would reach out and learn a little bit about him. Obviously could realize that he was a coach, and I was seeing some of the really cool webinars he was putting on. And at the end of the day, I really wanted to be able to bring Ken and some of the things that he coaches out there to his clients, to all of us here in EXP Family Tree, because I thought it would be valuable to you. And today he's going to talk about some of the things that he's learned, some of the things that he's coached others to when it comes to success principles. And I thought this would be very timely because we are entering a new year, and many of you already have set goals. You're looking at goals. You're still reassessing what happened last year. Usually that lingers into a week or two of January. And so what do we have to do differently in our businesses and our lives to get to that next level of success for us, whatever that might mean for you? And I'm just excited myself to learn from Ken. And Ken, if there's anything else that you think would be good for us to know at the onset of the training, please share your screen, make yourself comfortable. Those of you that are here live, please raise your hand and interact with Ken as much as possible. I know he'd appreciate that. And I'll monitor the chat box here as well as on the live stream. So I'm going to let you take it away, and let's have a good conversation today. Thanks you guys for being present and being here today. Ken, welcome.
Thank you, Cari. I appreciate that. And thanks to all of y'all that have joined via Zoom. I really appreciate that. I've done trainings via live stream before where it's webinar based, and it's weird when I just see myself talking on screen. So when I can see faces, I'm super grateful. I prefer to teach live. But you know what? This format is really, it lets us reach out and touch a lot of people from around the country. And so I am grateful for that. So
yeah, we've got lots of people from all over the country already on this call. We've probably got as many people as states represented. So I love it. Don't forget, speaking of that, Ken, don't you guys forget, please go ahead and mark in, go ahead and chat who you are and where you service clients. So if anybody has referrals and they need referral partners, so go ahead and do that in the chat while we're beginning.
That is excellent. And okay, so well, let's get back. So this little curriculum I put together for today, it's called the Success Formula. And that seems like a bold statement. It's really a little something that I stumbled upon over many years of focus, and we'll kind of get into how that came about and see if this resonates for you. But first, who's Ken and why am I here talking to you? So look, first and foremost, I'm a family man. I'm husband to my dream girl and father to 3 amazing children. We actually have a second dog now who's not in this picture. This picture was a couple years ago. My 2 kids are in college at Auburn University in Alabama, and my 2 older kids, and our young guy is in 2nd grade. He's 8 years old now. And that's if I could do nothing else but one thing, it would be this: spending time with this group of people. That's my world. But second, I'm a man of service. I served our great country in the U.S. Navy in the early 90s. I served as a big in the Big Brothers Big Sisters program. I served 9 years for that, and I still keep in touch with my little from, golly, he graduated high school, went on that he's now had a baby. Anyway, I still keep in touch with that. I'm a love that service. I've served on many, many boards and committees over the year, and I think it's so important that we give back and contribute. I was a founding member and served for 6 years on the Cari Commercial Executive Leadership Council, and I am a founding member and current tribal council member of the Go Abundance Tribal Council. So I very much believe in service, in giving back. I think it's super important. I've lived my life with a great deal of intentionality over really the past 12 years, but not always. Like, I went through decades as I looked back, and it was on autopilot. I was just stumbling through life, going day after day without a real plan, certainly without purpose in my life, and just kind of stumbling through it. And so what we talk about today is a little bit about this second half of my life as I've gotten focused and intentional about things. One of the things I mostly try to be is a man of value. I think it's so important that we show up with value in every connection we have. And someone asked me a long time ago at an event I was at, like, hey, what's your superpower? I have no idea what my superpower. I had no clue. But I figured out my superpower is being a connector. I love to add value and connect people, and just find little ways to add. That fills my soul, regardless if I have any benefit that comes out of that at all. It just fills my soul to do that. So I seek to find opportunities every day to add value to others. I've been a mentor, a coach, a consultant to people who have built massively successful businesses. Some of the most successful real estate businesses and other businesses, I've had the opportunity to play a small role in helping them get there. And along the way, I've had a few successes on my own. I've either founded, co-founded, or been a partner in a dozen different companies. I've had some successful exits, and I've had some tragic failures. And I've learned a lot, probably learned more as you hear. I probably learned more from those failures than I had from the successes. And I've been able to implement a lot of what I learned through those failures into my life in the second half of life. And so today, what I want to encourage you to do first and foremost is please take some notes. If you hear something that resonates with you, write it down, because if you're just listening to me talk, I know I'm super charming and funny and entertaining and all that, but it'll be just a waste of your time if you just sit through this hour and don't take any notes. So please take some notes, and more importantly, take action on the notes that you take. Love this quote from Deepak here about success. And I think the first thought when I think of success is, and what is success, is you got to know what that means to you, because success is different for every single person. So you've got to find your version of success. Like a young person's success, when I was young, certainly a young male's version of success, it's like money, cars, success, stuff. Mine used to be a private jet. There's all these things I wanted. And today's version of success looks really, really different from that. It's no longer the acquisition of things. I'm 52. I'll be 53 in June. And so my success today is, from a financial standpoint, it's simply having the financial wherewithal to do what I want, when I want, with who I want, right? It's being able to spend time and do things with the key people in my life. And there's two components to that: income and expenses, right? You can have a huge income, and if your expenses are higher than that huge income, then you're really limiting your ability to do things in the world. So I could talk for an hour or more on just that component of things, but just understand there's two components. But more important than the financial component of success to me today is having and spending time with my family and friends. Is a friend of mine, Pat Hyben, has on his arm, it says, a tattoo, it says, love is spelled T-I-M-E. I thought, man, that is so true. And that is one of the most important things for me as it relates to success, is being able to spend the time with those that are the most important in my life. And then success for me is using my gifts to help others. It's like I said a minute ago, it's showing up and bringing value to others and finding joy in every day. Because even on the crappiest days, and we all have right? Hopefully we have a lot more good days and bad days, but even on the most mediocre, crappy, bad news days, there is an opportunity to find joy or gratitude in that day. And so that to me really starts to open up success. And lastly, there's a word that I love that defines success for me, and it's called Kaizen, Kaizen. And it's Kaizen means basically it's a from Japanese process improvement, but it's continuous improvement, getting a little bit better day over day, becoming the version of myself that I want to become. Okay, so that's my long diatribe on defining success for you. This is what I see as the success formula. So if you signed up for this class because it had a catchy title of the success formula, all you have to do is write this down and you can sign off now. This is it. But this is something I came across around 2017. I started kind of my own personal development journey between 2010 and 2012 is when I guess woke up to personal development and the need for personal improvement, and then started diving really, really deep. And this, who here, those that I can see you, raise your hand. Who gets most of your great ideas from driving or the shower? Because that's damn sure. I like literally, and there's scientific proof on why that happens. Your mind's occupied on different things right there. But man, all my great ideas that seem come from driving to the shower. And this is one of those that finally hit me. I was like, oh, this is it. The pieces flowed together. And this is what I see as the success formula. And when I saw this, my RAS, reticular activation system, started opening up, and I started seeing this same version of this in many different places. I heard it from Tim Ferriss. I heard it from Ed Milet. I heard it from Cody Sanchez. And I'll continue to see this. And what that tells me, this is not unique to Ken or anyone. This is universal truth is what it is, that finally my world was ready to open up and realize it. And what this formula means is simply this. The P squared is two things. First, knowing your purpose. Second, having a plan. Okay, having your purpose and a plan plus action times focused intensity, because you can have random action. I'm talking about focused intensity on your action raised to the power of time. You put all that together, that equals massive success. Okay, and this can be said in dozens of different ways, and it is said in dozens of different ways in different places. But this is really, when you apply this formula to so many different aspects of your world, you get much, much, much better, and you get great results. What happens for most people, and where most people really drop the ball, is on this one. It's on time, because it's, oh, like we're January 10th. Everyone's fired up. I've got resolutions, or I've got things I'm going to do right now. And people like get after it. But so many people fail to really stick with things and put the time required in to achieve mastery and achieve success in something. You know, there's most of us have probably heard of the 10,000 hour rule. And most of us don't put in the 10,000 hours. We don't put in the constant, whether it's the time in the gym or the time on the phone or the time, you know, playing the piano or whatever it is. Most of us won't put the time in to truly become a master of something. And I think that's probably the number one place where we fail in achieving true mastery and success. Now, the second that I find is most common is purpose. I have rarely been in a room where I've surveyed the room and more than 20 people or 20% of the room have truly understood their purpose and have taken the time to define their purpose. And that was me for a long time. I'd never even heard of this concept of purpose until 2010. I heard Gary Keller on stage, and he was talking about a big why, same thing as a purpose right there. And I was like, oh my God, I've never heard of that. And I certainly didn't have, I didn't know what that was. I damn sure didn't have one. And it took me about 2 years to truly define my purpose and put that out there and then put that on paper. And man, but as I've gotten that, my life has just put itself in order. But I think these are the two big things. So if you don't know yet what your purpose is, I really, really encourage you to do some self-discovery and figure that out. I've got a worksheet that can help you if you want. I only got that one. that's a whole other tangent. I went and had brain scans done last year to kind of learn about my head and what's going on inside my brain. And one of the things they gave me was this great little worksheet that that was to help one find their purpose. And I had always struggled to help others find their purpose in a way. And anyway, so if you're looking for that, I'm happy to send you this worksheet that you can use on your own for that. But those are the kind of two things I think people struggle with when it comes to the formula. I love this quote from my friend Rock Thomas. Successful people make things easier by leveraging the power of ritual and routine. That is so, so true. Did anyone here know Rock Thomas? Y'all know him at all? Yeah, he was one of the original leaders in GoBundance, and then he's got his own kind of mastermind thing he runs now. But he's a Tony Robbins trainer. He's just been a student of personal development for decades. And do yourself a favor, write this down. Google Rock Thomas Goalcast, and he's got one of the things called "How to Change the Way You See Yourself." And he had at last count, I looked at like over 8 million views on this thing. It was pretty impressive. Like a 10-minute thing to watch. It's really, really cool. Did the computer put up, I raised my hand and it raised hand? Okay, I think that's what it did. Okay. It's so anyway, ritual and routine. I'm going to share with you about 10 strategies, things today that I think will really help you in your journey to success by whatever definition of your version of success is. And the first thing is, to Rock Thomas's comment right there, is eliminating decision fatigue. Our brains are 2% of our body weight, roughly. It takes over 20% of our caloric intake for our brains. I mean, it's the biggest caloric consumer muscle that we've got, just absolutely cranking it. And thinking, and, we don't think all the time that thinking just drains us, but it's true. Deep thought and thinking drains us. And so I'll give you a few ideas on how to eliminate decision fatigue by eliminating thinking. And the first, especially, I don't see any males, I see all women. And so for women, this is a tougher thing, but it's wear the same thing every day to work, right? It doesn't have to be the literal same thing, right? But you can have, hey, I wear, my wife she drives her nuts, but for me, I have about 6 different shirts and about 4 pairs of pants, and I just mix and match those like garanimals. That's what I do every day to kind of work. That's what but it eliminates me thinking about it. I used to stare at my closet. What am I going to wear? And I used to stare at that every day. And it's just, when I finally realized this, I'm like, okay, that's time I don't need to spend. That's brain energy I do not need to spend every day thinking. So one is simplify what you wear. If you've got a team shirt or a branded shirt, wear that every day. Make it easy. That's one. Next thing is eat the same thing for breakfast or lunch every day. Just simplify your meals for breakfast and lunch. Mix it up with dinner, or make your lunch leftovers from dinner. You make enough for dinner to pull that over from leftovers, and just eliminate the whole. How many people have sat around the office talking with your coworkers and be like, what do you want to eat for lunch today? I don't know. What do you want? I don't know. What do you want? We sound like the birds on a wire right there trying to figure it out. I did that so many times. And in fact, so much I had my son create an app that would randomly choose where we're going to go to lunch at one point. But if you eliminate those kind of things, it just takes away the decision. But bonus on this one, if you're eating kind of healthy for dinner and you're bringing that for lunch the next day, it also helps in your health journey as well. Third thing I'll tell you for eliminating decision fatigue is follow your calendar. Okay. Put your life on your calendar and follow it. So you don't have to think about what you're doing each day or each hour of your day. You literally if you look at my calendar right now, it is back to back to back to back. I know exactly what I'm going to do because I've put it on my calendar, and that's my priorities have shown up on my calendar. Fourth is prioritize your day. I'll walk through a worksheet with you in a minute that I use to prioritize my day, whether you use something like that or similar, but prioritize what you're going to do each day. Next is set up your environment for success. It is shocking how much of your energy can get zapped away by having a really cluttered environment. If you're sitting in a cluttered room or office and there's stuff all over you, think if there's papers and things you need to address, get those out of your way. I mean, put them all in a file folder and put that in a like, hey, I'll look at this once a week kind of thing right there, rather than leaving them on your desk. And that really, really helps in your focus and organization. One of the biggest, and did I say biggest things to do is stay out of your email. Okay. Email, I think, is the biggest time suck in our lives, or social media is probably that. I cut out social media years ago, but email is such a time suck. And I'm not saying that email is not necessary, because it is. It's a great form of communication and sending documents, et cetera. But if you are still managing your own email, set specific time in your calendar where it's going to be 90 minutes that you're blocking, and it's true focus time. I'm doing nothing but email, and I'm hammering this stuff out for 90 minutes right there. Pro tip is get to the point where you're hiring an executive assistant that handles your inbox right there, and that you're not handling your inbox anymore, and it's your EA that's doing that. And then lastly, on decision fatigue, any parents in the room, like making decisions with your kids is sometimes really hard. And if parents aren't on the same page about things, it's even harder. You got spouses that are like, well, I don't really care about this, or I do care about this, and it's a big deal. But so one of my biggest things for parents is have kind of established ground rules for your kids that you're going to agree upon. Mike McCarthy partnered with Hal Elrod and wrote the Miracle Morning for parents and families, and they put a workbook out with that. In that workbook, there is such a great framework. It's called a screen time contract and a star chart. Absolutely amazing. And we finally implemented that 2 years ago in our family, and it's been a game changer. It went from Amber and I at each other's throats for not being on the same page, and jumping on top of Kai and not being the most ideal version of parents, to totally, we would just know what the rules are. We've laid them out. We've talked about it. It's all in that. So anyway, those are a handful of things for eliminating decision fatigue. Next, the most successful people in the world, again, by any measure of success, when I'm talking from multinational corporation CEOs to billionaires to, everyday folks like you and me that are, just pouring into being great family men and women. The most successful people I know have a really strong and regimented morning routine. And I had the benefit in my first GoBundance meeting in 2015, I got peer partnered with a guy named Hal Elrod, and I just started reading his book at the time, which was The Miracle Morning. And I dove in deep into his work right there and put that Miracle Morning process into my life back in 2015, and I've been doing it ever since. And I've modified it a little bit now, but it is hands down the most important thing I do. And I'll walk you through in a minute what I do. But to invest 1 hour in yourself each morning is the key step to starting your day off right. I used to wake up, my alarm would go off at 6:30. Or maybe it'd go off at 6 and I'd hit the snooze until 6:30 or 6:45. And then I'd get up and I'd be like, oh crap, I'm late. I'd go throw on my lights in the lights in my kids' room and start screaming at them, get up, we're late, we got to go. And it would just create chaos everywhere. And it was such a miserable way to live life. And when I finally implemented this kind of thing into my world, game changer. It has poured into me. And so whatever time you normally get up, I would encourage you to bend that clock back 30 minutes to an hour and just spend that time on you. It's true you time. This is what my morning routine looks like today. I wake up at 3:45 in the morning to start this because I'm an earlier, but I go to bed at 8:40. People always go, I go to bed at 8:45 most nights. So I get 7 hours of sleep. My commitment is I will get at least 7 hours of sleep every night. 7 to 8 is my ideal time. But I wake up and the first thing I do is breath work. This is the most recent addition. I've only been doing this maybe 4 months now to my morning routine is the breath work. And it has been a game changer. I follow Wim Hof's methodology in the breath work. Do that for 10 to 15 minutes, kind of depending on the day. And then from there, I meditate for 10 to 15 minutes. And my meditation has gotten so much deeper after implementing the breath work routine. So man, just really encourage you to kind of look into that. And then it's journaling. I journal. I use an app called Day One, as I like to do things digitally, but I journal. My journaling process is I'll write down three things I'm great. I'll write down a favorite quote of mine. I keep a list of my favorite quotes, and I'll kind of scroll through and I'll be like, what resonates with me today? Then I'll write down 3 things I'm grateful for, 3 things I'm excited about, I'll write down, or actually I have a goal written down that I'll read aloud as part of kind of an affirmation. It's a goal as if it had manifested already in my life. And I'll read that each day. And then I'll write a quick little narrative of what's happening in my world, how I'm feeling, if there's anything going on. And then from there, there is something called the Ninja Prayer that I added. It was in the back of a book called Ninja Selling by Larry Kendall, incredible book. And one of the most beautiful things I've ever read. And so now I read it aloud every single morning on this Ninja Prayer. So that's my journaling process to go through that. Then I visualize with photos, meaning I've created a vision board, but instead of a typical vision board where you cut and paste things onto a board, I literally just have what do you call it, like an album in my phone that are these phones, and I'll have it cycle through, and I'll kind of sit there and meditate on those. From there, I'll read generally one chapter a day. I'll read the page of the Daily Stoic, and then one chapter a morning. Interestingly, this year in 2024, I am not reading any new books. I'm committed to only rereading 12 books. So I've chosen 12 of my absolute favorite books that have made the biggest impact in my life, and I am rereading them and going deep into those this year in 2024. And then from there, I go prepare my day, as I mentioned, kind of having your daily priorities right there. This one's going to get eliminated soon. I just hired my new EA. I just sent out an offer letter an hour before this deal for my new EA. So emails are about to get eliminated from here, although I will review kind of key action items that my executive assistant leaves for me. And then from there, I go exercise according to my daily plan right there. So that's my version of a powerful morning routine. So whatever your version is, start to layer it in and build on it as time goes right there. Get your kind of go and log your 10,000 hours into this. This is the most important component of it. Healthy is non-negotiable. It should be non-negotiable in your life. It's often said, a healthy person has, what 10,000 dreams, and an unhealthy person has but one. And there's so much truth to that. So get healthy, get fit. And it was interesting, Jesse Itzler, who's one of my favorite people. If you don't know him, go follow Jesse Itzler. He's amazing. But Jesse says you can be fit and not healthy, but you cannot be healthy and not fit. God, that's a really great way to frame it and look at it. So look, no amount of money is going to bring you peace when your health is failing. So please pay attention to this one, get fit. As I get older, it's even more important now to do the weight training for me. I used to be just a big cardio junkie, and now I'm becoming much, much more of a strength training person. A friend of mine did a read of a study, and he sent it to me of these men in their 60s, and they put them on a 1-year weight training regimen. And on average, the men put on 8 pounds of lean muscle mass in 12 months. And to me, that sounded pretty good. 8 pounds of straight up lean muscle mass, that's got to look good, feel good. The crazy thing was when they took them off of the regimen, which was, I don't remember how many days, but let's call it 5 days a week of working out with strength training. They took them off the regimen. Any guesses on how long it took them to lose what they gained? It was, I thought 2 months is what I thought. And
1 month?
2 weeks. 2 weeks, which sounded baffling to me to, when you stop to kind of lose all of that. So, so whatever you choose to do, let me encourage you to do this. Make it a daily habit. It is my strong belief that it is easier to work out 7 days a week than it is 4 days a week. Okay. And I promise you that is true because I've lived both sides of it right there. When it's a 4-day-a-week commitment, it is so easy for that 3 days off to turn into 4 days off, to turn into 5 days off. And then you rarely get your 4 days, where if it's 7 days, it's just what you do. It becomes who you are. So think through that. And then if you're getting healthy at home, encourage you to eliminate the, I don't want to come distractions, eliminate the temptation in your home. Get rid of junk food, processed food, the things that you'll be tempted. I am the worst. If you leave Halloween candy around my house, I'm like the cookie monster in that place. I'm going to gobble it up. It's terrible. And so I just have to get rid of the stuff out of my house. Otherwise I'm going to eat it. So eliminate that. So this is the before and after Ken. This is me way back in 2010, 11 time frame. And I hope what you notice in here is that I got a smile on all those pictures. I was happy. I was dating my now wife then, my daughter, beautiful daughter, her, had a daddy-daughter day. I was happy, but man, was I not fit. And then the after version, yes, from 2012 is when I started that. Really 12 to 14 is when I really started getting fit. And it's just become part of my life. And I've exercised almost every day. I started in 2019, 20, and 21. I exercised every day for 3 years. I didn't miss a day on those 3 years. Now I'm generally kind of a 6 day a week. I try to get 7, but every once in a while I miss a day. But point being, get healthy, do your thing, and just show up as the version of yourself with the energy that you want to show up with. Next thing to find your way to success is setting goals and achieving them. Okay, the achieving them is interesting because a lot of people set goals, and I'll say the achieving them is sometimes I think we're pushed to set, we say, oh, set a stretch goal, set this big goal. I am a proponent of setting big goals, but I'm also a proponent of getting some wins, bag some wins in there, right? So put some of your wins, some of your goals to where, hey, I'm going to nail this. And maybe that's quarterly goals. I'm a big fan of setting quarterly goals. Set those where I'm going to get this done over the quarter. I like to set my stretch goals on that 2 or 3 or 4 year kind of time horizon right then, because it's amazing what we can accomplish in that amount of time if we focus on the short term. But I'll tell you this, with goals, you got to be committed to them, not just interested. Okay. There's an I'm interested in something and I'm committed to something. Those are really, really different. And what you probably realize is you can control the activities. You can't control the outcomes. I mean, life shows up sometimes and it's different than you expected, but what you can control are your activities to get you towards those goals. And then I will submit to you that failing to commit to the activities is worse than not setting a goal at all. Because I think when you set a goal and say, oh, I'm going to do this, and then you don't do it, you start to show up as a person that I'm not a person who honors my word. I'm a person who talks big and doesn't do anything. And I think there's a real risk in our lives to do that and not do what we say we're going to do. This is a form that I love to use. I hired a business coach. I heard a guy speak at an event one time, and he was talking about how he had scaled his business over 10 or 15 years and then exited his business. And he had built all these tools that he used, and they were just Google-based tools. And so I hired him as my business coach for a year. I said, will you give me your tools and teach me how to use them? And he said, yes. And because they're easy. They're all Google-based, and I didn't have to buy new software or anything like that. But this is one of those things. And so it's great. What this is a one-page kind of plan right here where you can outline your guiding principles. What are the guiding principles of your business, your world? What's your core purpose? Why are you doing what you do? And then you look out 3 years. This is where I like to set the big goals, right? Go set your stretch goals out there for 3 years. But then break that down. Okay, if I want to get here in 3 years, what do I need to do this year, 2024? What are we going to need to do this year? And I just went through this exercise a few weeks ago and did mine for the next year. It's been a super powerful exercise. And then breaking it down, what do I need to do this quarter? Okay, what's first quarter 2024? What are those key things I need to do? What do those rocks look like? So using some kind of form like this and mapping this out is super important. And then this is another tab on that spreadsheet. This is what I love this one. I use this one every day. This is my daily tracker. I set kind of quarterly goals and projects, and they flow into here based on another tab. And then it's like, what are those top 3? And I really look for the 1, but if I can get through 3 in a day, that's amazing. If I did nothing else today, but get these 3 things done, it would be a win. And then everything back here is kind of like things basically flow from a pileup zone. They go into an on deck area. Like this is we're about to move this up, and then they go into your 2-week sprint. Okay, over the next 2 weeks, what are the 10 items I want to nail? Well, guess what? 2 weeks is 10 work days. There's only one of those items a day that you have to move over here that you nail your 2-week sprint. Okay, so this is really a workable, manageable process to go through, and it's intentional to go through. And then another goal sheet I use this is for my GoBundant stuff, is we set kind of personal goals, and we call these our gardens: health and nutrition, spiritual contribution, lifestyle venture, personal, intellectual, family, relationships, financial freedom, and then environment and the tribe. And so I have not yet done these goals for the year for 2024. I'm about to do those, but it's looking at, okay, what do I want to do in Q1, 2, 3, and 4 for each one of these gardens? And then it's one thing to write it down, but it's another. I keep this. So here you can actually see this is my execution mastery sheet for today. I print this stuff out and I carry it with me. These are my kind of abundance goals. I carry them with me right here so that I can be proactive and actually look at them each and every day. So that's what I encourage you to do. Don't just write something down. Well, first of all, it's a huge step even to write something down. So I honor you for that. When you write it down, then kind of look at it daily. Look at the things and use it daily. And then I don't think I have a copy of this in here, but another thing I use, which has been super valuable, I created a list. I call it the top 25 list. And it's actually more of a top 100, but I've got it broken into almost like, okay, what Jesus had 12 disciples. And then, so I look at it at my top 12, then my next to get me to 25, and then my next to get me to 100. Okay, these are the 100 people in my life. And these could be mentors, advisors, prospects, people that I just want to be around that bring me energy. I've got 2 billionaires on there. I've got, it's people that bring my life value. And I would say of that top 100, maybe 20% are kind of clients, people I'm actually doing business with. The others are people that bring value to my life. And so those are my top 100. I keep that list as a visual way to keep in touch with those people on a regular basis. If you're my top 25, you're going to hear from me once a month. Every single month, you are going to hear from me either on the phone or face-to-face or kind of video call, something like that. And if you're in my top 100, you're going to hear from me every quarter. And that's kind of the way I stay on top of things right there. So little ways to be intentional about life. And use your database and feed it daily. I'll ask you, what's the best database? And it is a simple answer, the one you're going to use, whether it could be as simple as a spreadsheet. And I'll encourage you not to use a spreadsheet, but if it's better that than nothing, right? Better that than nothing. Databases have so much power, and man, use it every day. For real estate, I used one called RealNex for many, many years, and it was great. Now I'm using this Rethink product, which I really like for, it's a Salesforce-based platform. So it's pretty cool, but it doesn't matter what database you use as long as you're using it. And man, so I combine this with that top 100 sheet. I've got the top 100 sheet up. I'm like, okay, who are those? And look, those people are also grouped in my database, so I don't have to use that sheet, but I like it because it's an easy, quick visual for me. But then I'm using that and I'm contacting my database and I'm going over, I mean, this is simple stuff you've heard about, but I'm going over the 4 questions, right? Family, occupation, recreation, dreams. What is going on in your family? And when I'm doing it, I got a terrible memory. I had way too much fun as a high school and college kid, and I think I fried all my brain cells back then. So I've got a terrible memory, and I have to use like databases to keep my knowledge, but I'm also ADD, and I figured out how to use strategies to make it work in my life, and taking notes in a database is one of those strategies that help me remember everything. So this is a really, really important thing. I do, not a day goes by that I'm not in and using my database and putting some in there. So please do that. You can set up tasks, follow-ups, all kinds of neat little things by using your database. And then you can hire that EA we talked about who's managing your inbox, who can then start managing your database and then just really feeding you exactly the people you need to talk to every day. It's a beautiful thing. This is important in your life. And that is, we all need an accountability partner. That can be, let me tell you who your accountability partner should not be. That's your spouse. In general, I have been my spouse's accountability partner, and it is not a great way to find success, especially if you're a real hard charger. Hold someone accountable person like me. You don't want to be my spouse and accountability partner. But look, we all need accountability partners, and it can be as simple as a coworker or a friend, an advisor, a mentor, level it up for a coach. You pay someone to be your accountability. And that's the reason most of us pay coaches, is that we all know what to do. Most of us know what to do. But it's actually having someone that is going to hold the mirror up and have us look in that mirror every week, and hold us to accountability. You can have an accountability pod. I love like accountability pods, groups of 3 to 5 people in a group that share, hey, this is what I'm working on this month. This is what I'm working on this month. And you each get together. There's, what the different messaging platforms that you can use. It's really easy to form these pods and have some success with that. I've got a group through GoBundance, and I've got a group through another tribe, Front Row Dads. And I have 2 different accountability pods, and they're really, really great. We hold each other accountable to different things, and it's awesome. I'll give you an example. I had a client I met, golly, I bet I met him 13 years ago at a real estate conference, and went to lunch. We became friendly, and he said, "Oh, I've got this property in Fort Worth," which that's where I live. I live in Fort Worth, Texas, and he lived in San Antonio at the time. And I said, "Well, that's the kind of property we help people with. I can help you sell that." So I ended up selling this property for him, and we sold another property for him. Then come to find out, we both liked kind of adventure races. We did a couple of Tough Mudders together, and like, that was great. And then he calls me up one day because, "Ken, you seem like a pretty disciplined guy." He's like, "I need some accountability on my fitness." And so I'm like, "Okay, I'll be your accountability partner." And we had kind of weekly check-in, actually daily check-ins on his fitness right there. This guy was a former professional athlete. I mean, he was on adventure racing teams that won races, won the Eco Challenge. This guy's a badass, and he's asking me to be his accountability partner. He's now my partner in multiple real estate deals and my partner in 3 laundromats that we own. But that started from me showing up as a person of value and being a fitness accountability that has nothing to do with real estate, nothing to do with what I was doing. It had to do with, a common interest in showing up as a person of value. So those that, when I talk about, showing up as a person of value, I think that's the little things we can do. And I'll tell you another fun thing on accountability. I have a fitness accountability. We use a Telegram thread for a fitness accountability group I'm on right now. And last December, we had this group, and we said, all right, we have 10, 12 people in the group. And we said, we're going to work out every single day in the month of December, and we're going to report in the Telegram thread. Failure to report is $200 a day. Okay. So at the end of that month, there was $2,000 in the pot. And we ended up all going as a group in January. First of all, it's been amazing. Some people from that group have now worked out every day since then. It really does matter when you can do things for 30 days or more in a row. And but anyway, we all went as a group in January to the Waffle House, brought that $2,000 and used that as a blessing gift to the servers that served us that day. It was such a cool, there's a really fun way to use accountability. So look at that, look what that does, because those were colleagues, but also potential investors. You bond in so many different ways. One, from shared experience of the accountability and the fitness. 2, from gains you make from that. And 3, from the gifting of this thing. Such a cool, I love life. There's so many cool things you can do in life. All right. And then look here, find your tribe. I think it's really, really important. We've all heard that you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. And look, we grow in the positive direction to the extent of the books we read and the people we hang out with. I really, really believe that. So find your people, similar values, beliefs, outlooks on life, someone that's going in the direction where you want to go, or this maybe achieve some of the things that you want to achieve. Find those people and surround yourself with them. For me, I've got 3 tribes that have just made a momentous impact in my life. I've mentioned GoBundance already. I've been involved with them since 2015. Front Row Dads since 2018. I love that. So Front Row Dads mantra is family men with businesses, not businessmen with families. And I love that. Like, so if that kind of resonates, then that's the right kind of tribe. And then F3 is just the most, I've been with that one for about 1.5 years now. And that's a workout group. It's fellowship, fitness, and faith. An amazing workout group based around the country. But whatever it is, find your tribe that allows you to get to where you're going, that pushes you to get to where you're going. Because that's the important thing. It's like you want people around you that are going to see the potential inside you and help to push you to fulfill that potential. Next thing on success, build your financial wealth. This is kind of what people think about success. It's financial wealth, but this is way down on my list right here. But it's super important. But build your financial wealth. And people hate hearing what I tell them first on this, because what that means first is get out of debt. It's take inventory of where you are and get out of debt. When I got married to Amber, my beautiful bride I showed you in the first picture, we kind of surveyed our financial situation. We read Dave Ramsey's book, Total Money Makeover, and which was what caused us to survey our financial situation. We looked at it. We had $352,000 of debt and no home, right? We were living in apartments and we had $352,000 of debt and no home. And we followed Dave Ramsey's plan. We made the debt snowball. In 24 months to the date, we paid off $352,000 in debt. It was really, really intentional couple of years right there. So I know what it's like to feel buried in debt, and it sucks. I know what it's like to, walk home and the electricity's not on. It sucks. You get on the other side and it feels a whole lot better. It feels a whole lot better, but it requires commitment. And so the first thing I'm going to share with everyone is get out of debt, whether it's Dave Ramsey's program or something like that, but take real stock where you are and make a plan to do that. Next is live beneath your means. So many of us in the real estate business, we can make great money and we can spend greater money. That is a fact. So live beneath your means. Don't spend everything, sock some money away. And then when you start investing, invest in what you know. Please do that. Invest in what you know. If you want to invest in the stock market, I encourage you to invest in, go read this I've got it on my desk right here, this massive book that Tony Robbins wrote called Mastering the Money Game. It's 20 hours on Audible. It's ridiculous, but I'll give you the Cliff Note version. The Cliff Note is you read all 20 hours and he says, invest in a Van Dyke index fund for the S&P 500, because that is going to beat 99% of stock pickers out there. And so if you're going to invest in the stock market, do something like that. If you're going to invest in real estate, if you know real estate, heck, invest in what you know. You come across those deals, do it. And if you know people in other asset classes in real estate and you trust them and you believe in them, invest with them. Most of my wealth is from investing with other sponsors into real estate deals because I trust them. And you're betting on the horse on this one big time. And the asset's great, but you're really you're betting on the jockey rather, not the horse. You're betting on the jockey on this thing. But start now, do it today. And if that starting now is just paying off debt for the next 3 years, then do that. Do that. So that's my wealth diatribe. Next is do something hard. This is so important. So important. I read a book called Unbreakable by a guy named Tom Shea, and he talked about this concept of doing. He's a retired Navy SEAL, and he wrote that book as a memoir to his children. He didn't think he was coming back, thought he was going to die. And incredible book. One of the things he talked about was doing something hard, and I have made it a point for a while now to do something every year. These are a couple of pictures from Tough Mudders that we did. But the one on the left, by the way, this is when Tough Mudder was early and they had a lot more electricity. It sucked. This is me low climbing under barbed wire with electrical wires hanging down, shocking us. It really did. So that was hard. But whatever it is for you, do something hard, whether it's a 5K, a 10K, a marathon, climbing a mountain, whatever that may. Do something hard. We've evolved a number of years ago, COVID year 2020. My friend reached out and asked me to do a 24-hour walk with him. And I thought that sounded dumb and easy, frankly. It was not easy. It may still be dumb, but it was not at all easy. It was extremely difficult, most difficult thing I had ever done at the time. And this year, April 19th, we're going to be doing our 5th annual 24-hour walk. I invite any of you that would like to come join us on April 19th here in Fort Worth, Texas. to come join us. We'll start at 8 a.m. on Friday and we'll finish at 8 a.m. on Saturday. We'll walk between 50 and 60 miles, kind of depending on conditions and whatnot right there. And it's hard, I promise. You learn a lot about yourself going through something like that. But you might do something hard. It's gone from Tough Mudder to Spartan races to 12-hour walks to 24-hour walks. And last year, October, oh, is it not gonna let me play this for you? I don't know if I can play this for you or not. Yeah. Okay. All right. This is what I did most recently.
likely gonna rain. It's gonna rain, which means it's gonna be even more gritty. But you didn't sign up for this because it's easy. You didn't sign up for this because it's gonna be another weekend on your calendar that you're not gonna remember. You signed up to make a memory, to find out who you are on the other side of grit, on the other side of challenge, on the other side of struggle, how strong you are, how capable you are, how absolutely transcendent this experience can be. Lean into that. Yes, you are going to experience some ones, some twos, some threes. Embrace those.
Look at the rain coming down. So that was Stratton, Vermont, the 29029 event, October 20th, my wife's birthday, and I was gone climbing a mountain. And it was 1,750 vertical feet, 1.3 miles up each time, 49 degrees. It started raining. It was a 36-hour event you had to complete. It started raining 4 hours into the event. It started raining hard 6 hours into the event, and it didn't stop until after it was over. It was cold. It was wet. It was dark. It was miserable, and it was amazing. So that's doing, it really just pushed me super out of my comfort zone to go do that. But man, it was great. So whatever it is for you, do something kind of hard for you. And then, I mean, that's it, right? That's success is simple, not easy, right? Define your success, get healthy and stay fit, eliminate decision fatigue, set goals and achieve them, have a powerful morning routine, use tools for leverage, feed your database, find your tribe, build your wealth, and do something hard. So that's basically, look, I've got years of stuff I've created. If you want, if you want the sheets I said I got from my coach, or the top 25 format, my morning routine, recommended books and reading list, star chart for your kids, any of that crap, or you want an introduction, email me. Melissa will send you all of our stuff. It's but just if you do it, use it. Just use it, please. Just build your life with it. And then if you want next level, if you want to do something, I run a 6-month live group training program. It's really designed for entrepreneurs and sales professionals. And it's kind of talking to some of the things we've taken here, expanding on a really, really deep level. We do an hour Zoom every week for 6 months on that. So if you want details on that, just email operations@wimberlyre.com. And with that, there's my contact information. I'd be happy to take any questions, and I'm so grateful for your time.
Awesome. So can you just chat in the chat box so people can copy and paste so they don't forget? Are you possible to do it your phone and email? And I'll copy and paste it here in the live stream since we have a lot of people watching live stream as well. Then
Yep.
they can easily just click on it and email you. That would be
Mhm.
awesome if you guys want any of those documents. Any thoughts, questions, comments? It's so funny because I talked to many of you about this. Your business is only going to grow to the extent that you do. So what are you doing to make sure that you're healthy, you're happy, you're growing? And multiple of you on this call, we've had the conversation this week alone about health and things you do. And, my husband and I are encouraging many different things from, things that are helping us as we get older from, working out. And my husband also climbs mountains. He runs in the mountains. He's doing a 50 miler in Asheville, North Carolina in March. And
Beautiful up there.
lots of, if you want to check that one out, maybe we'll meet you there. But from grounding to our infrared sauna to, your morning routine to just, you got to optimize your mind and your body if you want to be the success that you want to be in business and for your family and everything. So I love Ken's message. We all have different things that are important to us and what we need to optimize. But what's the one thing right now that just stood out to you guys? That's the one thing. That's my first domino that I need to focus on. That's what I would encourage you to focus on today as you leave, because Ken and I, as coaches, believe the same thing, which is we can attend a lot of trainings, but if we do nothing with the knowledge we learn, it means nothing. It's worthless. What is going to actually make this hour of time that you took away from your life to attend this training with us or to watch this live stream is that you write one thing down and you go execute on it, or you identify one thing that has to change and you dedicate yourself to change it. And we're here, we're your tribe. We're here to help you with that. You guys can show up on our mindset motivation market update every Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific if you want to, and share how you're doing on it for accountability. Many of you join me on Thursdays at 10 a.m. Pacific for our group coaching call. It's all free to you, and you're here to use us and this tribe and find little tribes inside of the big tribe, people that are working on the same thing that you are, right? How can we continue to help each other find those connections? Reach out to me if I can help you find some people that are focused on what you're focused on, because we don't always have the same focus. So what's your focus? What are you going to do about it? If anybody wants to share, we have 3 minutes left, please raise your hand, unmute yourself, share away, or ask Ken a question if you have one. Maureen, I see you unmuted. I cannot hear you. Can anybody else hear anything? Okay, I want to make sure it wasn't me. I don't know if you're trying to talk, Maureen, but we cannot hear you. Make sure you chat if maybe something's happening with your audio. Anyone else?
I love the presentation. Thank you, Ken. It was super motivating. I like the part, there was everything that was great. I like your sheet, so I'll email you. But I like the part when you talked about finding an accountability partner, that sometimes an accountability pod is even better. Because I think now, especially with EXP, that we're in different states, we're on different time zones. Having a pod is a little bit better than, because sometimes I had a guy from back east that was my accountability partner, but I had to get a hold of him like at 6 a.m. my time because that was his only availability. So I like the pod idea.
And create that. I mean, Matthew, what a cool thing. Go find other business owners. They don't all have to be in real estate. We talk about this all the time at my co-working space. We're surrounded by 50 different industries on a daily basis. And in fact, this afternoon, I'll be going there and we do an accountability / coaching / networking session because we're all in different industries, but yet we're all still needing to do the same things for our life and our business, right? To be successful. And as we get to know one another and help each other achieve our goals, we build a relationship, and we oftentimes find ways to do business together too. So you could go and find 5 people and say, hey, let's be an accountability pod. Let's meet at a coffee shop. Let's have 5 different industries represented, because we can get to know each other too and help each other build our businesses. And this is a way that you can then create what you need around you, but also make it work for you and for others in a different way. So I think those are great, great ideas.
I did have, hi,
Marie.
great presentation.
Thank you.
Ken, I did have a question. What do you do in times where you kind of get stuck in procrastination and then you're like, well, I already kind of wasted the day. I'm just going to waste the whole day and start tomorrow. Like, is there anything that kind of snaps you out of it to help you get back on track for that day or that time?
Man, look, sometimes you just need the day off to recharge. And I'll say that most of my wasted days are planned. I will say that I've kind of like, hey, I'm taking this day to recharge, be off and done. But like, I would encourage you to start just by saying, look, tomorrow is this day. I'm going to knock it out for the whole day and really commit to making it through that. But to put it on your calendar, the things that you're going to do during that day, so that you're not just kind of, I think the worst thing is when we're just blowing in the wind and we don't really know what we're supposed to be doing. I think when we have a plan and we know what we're supposed to be doing, it really helps, because like I was not always this organized as I am. I've gotten much more organized over the year, but as I have done that, and now, when I go look at this sheet in the expanded version of it, I know what I need to do. It's like, I think that's a lot, is having a purpose. And the other thing you learn is I think purpose is so important. If you have not defined that for yourself and taken the time to go through and really understand your driving purpose, I would really spend some time on that, because when I didn't understand my purpose, I would find myself kind of floating around a little more often. Just, I wasn't sure what I was supposed to be doing until I figured that out.
Thank you.
Good question. I had heard something, I'll kind of end it, procrastination. As a coach, I've always told people, priority management, time management, here's how we can help ourselves with procrastination. Most recently, I'm kind of a psychology junkie. It's an interesting journey, because I really love understanding the mind. And then I'm also like really deep into my faith, but they go hand in hand, and that the mind is something that we do have control over. And the interesting thing is that there is a lot of science around like what happens in our mind. So one of the reasons people procrastinate is not necessarily because they're unclear of what they need to do, or their time management, or even their priority management. It's because they're trying to regulate their mood. So what you'll find, Juliana, is that if you don't want to do something because it makes you uncomfortable, you don't like it, you're not sure you're good at it, it's boring, it's any sort of thing that isn't fun or bringing you in immediate joy or pleasure, your mind will want to distract you from it, because the egoic part of the mind is trying to keep us in a place of joy and happiness and comfort. And, and that's the way our brain has evolved over time. So what you can do is you can actually be really strategic in trying to raise some dopamine in your brain before you do something that you don't really want to do. And so dopamine is released in your brain in anticipation of something fun or something that's enjoyable, not of doing it, in anticipation of it. So one thing that has worked for some of my coaching clients is, if we know we have to make calls for an hour, to put something right on the back end of that hour call that you really, really enjoy doing, that you get pleasure in, and make sure that you tie it. When I do this, I get to do this. I'm going to get to do this in 1 hour when I'm done with this. And what happens is you actually spike some dopamine, because you're thinking about what you get to do, and it will actually help you to find some more strength, if you will, from your mind to go and actually do the thing for the hour that you don't want to do. But you have to be really specific, and usually it only works in short bursts, and you have to know exactly, to Ken's point, plan for it. I'm doing this, and then I get to do this. Then later I'm going to do this, and then I get to do this. And if you start getting yourself in a habit of that, oftentimes I've had some good success with people who are really struggling with procrastination. It's just a mood regulation thing, and your mind gets in this very vicious cycle, because guess what happens when you procrastinate? What happens? You get to go do something you want to do. So you're actually teaching your brain that if you procrastinate, you will have more joy. But really, it's in the hard things that we do that bring us long-term joy. So we got to get ourselves to do the things in the moment, right, to get the results that we really want for long-term success and joy. So hopefully that little tidbit helps you. I got a little bit of a video on that on my YouTube if you want to check it out. All right. Speaking of YouTube, we're going to put this out on my YouTube channel so that you can rewatch this. You can bless a friend with it. You can pass it on to somebody. So this is going to be up on my YouTube channel. Just Google my name. You'll find me within 24 hours. It's already live streamed in EXP Family Tree. Tag your friends there if they didn't get to see it. This is a great, great reminder of how you live your life, so that you continue to be successful in life and business, but you got to have the right principles in place. And Ken, I love the way you lead your life and your business. I appreciate you being a guest. Thank you for everything. I shared all of the information Ken shared here in the chat in our live stream as well. So please reach out to him if he could be of any service to you guys. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Thank y'all.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Ken and Cari.
Bye, Matthew. See ya.
Bye.